because they were in. Yeah, we were in.
Yeah. Oh, they, he holds this. He said he holds a world record for. Okay. I think 120.
Wow.
But he still hasn't really done it. Yeah, him and his brother. So when we were doing that, there were kids there, some skates. There's an old man. There's some 15, no, there's 15 guys. That tells me, I forgot about the match. That says, yeah, my husband, his waist is 35.
Camera operator here, so get in reading position. I'm going to train this one on you.
Okay, I'm going to need a mic for a couple of seconds.
No, these are mine. You're
Okay,
gonna have to get.
I'll just
You're gonna
go
have to
like
get your
this.
own mic.
Well, I really don't mind if it's on
You know
the
what?
record,
That's even better over there.
but it's probably important that I do say this here.
Yeah. All right, it's gonna be right like this.
I'm not in it, am I? Am I in it? Where do I have to go?
Wait a minute. Is she in it now?
Okay.
Wait.
Yeah.
How about now?
He does those up close shots. I'll look like I'm taking notes. I'm in the camera shot. We made a deal when I became senior clerk that he would use me as little as possible on camera.
Did you get it in writing?
No, I'm sure
Yeah,
I'm not.
there's your mistake.
I'm sure I gotta watch them afterwards anyways. We got kids over there having to do this for a student project in the civics class. They got changed yesterday morning. No, it's just. You know what? We're not going to be able to see the video. Oh, I guess we can. I don't care. Oh, they can remember what it was. Yeah. Oh, no, get them.
I have visions of them coming through.
What? Oh, 4.5 months. I think it's 7 council meetings. To be determined. Expert witness.
The lawyer in her. met with Carolyn today for quite a while before the lunch started.
Oh, good.
I mean, we talked a little over the years, but not much. So that was good. She's very nice woman.
She is. Good. Got a real good person there.
Now, Steve Heller is not a coach for varsity, is he? He's the
Well, yeah, he's freshman.
I'm sure they do team stuff.
Yeah.
I thought I might see him here.
Well, I was thinking that too.
I'm sure he's coached some of these seniors.
Oh, all of them. Yeah. I think personally, I think that's why they did so well. It really, I mean, it really has an impact on the kids, and they go on to become seniors. And you see Steve?
Yeah, he just walked in.
Oh, okay.
Happy hand this. Matt, you talk.
Oh, Matt Stock? Yeah.
Okay, ready? Which one says?
Right Or you want to just yell?
No, just go ahead.
Then you start. You take roll.
I wait for the mayor to pick up. Yes.
No, he's got to come back over here because they're doing one's for the video and one's for here.
I'd like to call the Garden Grove City Council meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Councilmember Broadwater?
Here.
Councilmember Doe?
Here.
Councilmember Wynn?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Jones?
Here.
Mayor Dalton?
Here. We'll have the invocation by Keith Jones, Public Works Director, and a pledge of allegiance by Councilman Broadwater.
Lord, we ask that you be with us as we seek to embrace the needs of our community. We also humbly ask that you guide us to answer those needs. Amen.
Please join with me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Not surprising, I see we have a spotlight.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, and I'd like Keith Jones to make the spotlight this evening.
Tonight, the City of Garden Grove is proud to recognize the 2010 Garden Grove High School varsity football team for their achievement in winning the 2010 CIF Southern Section Southern Division Championship. Would Coach Willie Puga, the team captains Jesse Lozano, Dante Rusamano, Josh Webb, and Avery Williams please come forward? Garden Grove High School was founded in 1921 and adopted the motto Pride, Performance, and Pursuit of Excellence. The recognized accomplishments of the last two varsity football teams have done much to uphold the school's rich traditions. 2 seasons ago, the team was inspired by the memory and heartbreaking loss of their beloved teammate, starting fullback and linebacker Kevin Tellis. Kevin passed away on September 11, 2009, after collapsing suddenly on the playing field during the final minutes of the first preseason game. The Argos dedicated their season to him, going on to 13 straight victories and reached the 2009 CIF Southern Division Finals for the first time in 55 years. Unfortunately, the Argos' near-perfect season ended in defeat. Fast forward to December 10, 2010, the varsity team was driven to right their painful CIF championship defeat and realize an unfulfilled promise to number 45, Kevin Tellis. The Argos rocketed to the CIF Southern Division Finals for the second consecutive year and faced a fierce battle with the Beckman Patriots. The football game, considered to be the best in Garden Grove history, was a close one. At halftime, the score was tied 13-13. By the end of the fourth quarter, with 3 minutes and 14 seconds left, the Argos were down 30-23. On first and goal, quarterback Giovanni Duran connected with Josh Webb, which set the stage for one of the most memorable touchdowns in county history. We have a brief clip of the game provided by Channel 3.
And now I think they're just going to run. Quick snap throw to Webb. Webb on the perimeter, gets the corner. Webb to the end zone. Spectacular pirouette, somersault into the end zone, and he is in the end zone. Touchdown, Argonauts.
With the score 30-29, Coach Puga had to make a tough call. The extra point would tie the game, but the coach decided to go for the 2-point conversion, and Josh Webb added another amazing play to the highlight reel.
He got the 2-point conversion. He went up and over again. And the Garden Grove sideline is going absolutely crazy.
The come-from-behind win earned 640,000 views on the city's YouTube channel. After Webb gave Garden Grove the lead, the Argonaut defense secured the victory by shutting Beckman down in the final seconds. Coach Puga said that there was no quit in this team. They never got down, they never panicked, and they played their best to the very end. At this time, the Mayor and City Council would like to present Coach Willie Puga and the team captain, Jesse Lozano, Dante Rusamano, Josh Webb, and Avery Williams with the Crystal Award to be displayed in the Hall of Fame at Garden Grove High School. All players on the varsity football team have also received a certificate of achievement. The City of Garden Grove is proud of the team's accomplishment and wishes its players the best in their future career and athletic endeavors.
Well, we're going to sit down, they're going to have the official picture.
Do we get to say anything? Do we get to say anything?
Squeeze in.
Hello?
Let's be sweet, short and sweet. We just want to thank the city council and everybody out today. The support we've gotten not only from just Garden Grove High School, but the whole city, the other schools within the city. It's been tremendous since December 10th. It keeps coming. So we'd like to thank everybody here tonight. We have a gift for the city council members. So you've seen these around. I think they're still for sale. Championship shirts.
We got these sizes from somebody, so it isn't extra size that we used to.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just I don't know if you can hear me or not. I'm going to let the council say a few words. We'll keep it brief because there is a cake reception and everything after that. So it'll just be a few minutes. Mr. Broadwater, why don't you start?
Can you hear me? My grandson and I went to the first playoff game that you did, some team from Santa Ana that you played, and you did not give them a break. You had me feeling sorry for the other team. Every time they got the ball, all they tried to do was get rid of it. So I hope you have another champion next year. Let's make it 2 in a row.
Garden Grove High School is just a block down from my house, and I'm very, very proud of all of you, and I particularly enjoy the leap to the touchdown on the screen. Congratulations.
Is this working? Okay. I just want to say thank you for what you did for us and what you did for the city. You put Garden Grove on the map. And maybe that guy, what's his name, Steve Martin. I'm being facetious. He never comes back to Garden Grove, so I'm not sure what he does, and I'm not sure what I care what he does. But you guys have taken his place in our hearts. You've done something great, and next year you're going to do it again. Okay? I'll still be mayor next year. I'll still be mayor next year, so I can be up here. I can be thanking you again. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, guys. Great effort. Great. A lot of guts to go for 2 on that last one. That's awesome to see. Just to take it home for Garden Grove. Made the whole city proud.
Does this work? I'm a Bosa guy, but I'm still going to go Unify, so. Hey, just kidding. Congratulations, and hey, you got robbed. You should have gone to state, too.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and recess the city council meeting. again, thank you very much. We appreciate everything you've done. This box here, this is where that goes. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I got this. Sure, Stacy. So switch them around. Whoever. Okay, you got yours?
Yeah,
Yeah. We'll now call the Garden Grove Housing Authority regular meeting. Madam Clerk, could you please take roll?
Commissioner Dalton. Here. Commissioner Doe.
Here?
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Commissioner O'Connor. Here. Vice Chair Broadwater.
Here.
Chair Wynn.
Here. We will now go to item 1, oral communications. Do we have any public comments? Do we have any commissioners' comments? Hearing none, we'll go to item number 2, consent items.
Madam Chair, it's recommended that these items be acted on simultaneously unless a separate discussion is requested.
Do I have a motion?
Move the balance.
Call for the vote.
Motion received, 6 yes votes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have no public hearing, no items for consideration. Any matters from commissioners and director? Hearing none, I will now call for the adjournment of the Housing Authority, and our next meeting will be held on February 22nd at 6:30 in the Council's chamber. Do we have something? Did I?
Yeah, we can do the city council meeting, let the record show that all members are present. And the next item is oral communications for the council, agency, and sanitary district. Earl Lambert.
Did you call me?
Yes. Now that my mic's working, Verla Lambert.
I'm Verla Lambert, and I'm here from Marble Place in Garden Grove. It's been a while since I've been up at the podium. And I just wanted to give you fellas, I have a challenge for you folks. I know you are all very busy at the job that you do when you're sitting here on the council. And some of you even have other jobs besides. The pay isn't real great, so I understand. So why would you want to sit in those chairs? Is it power? Prestige? Some of our council members has used their chair to climb to higher office and politically. I want to believe that mostly it's for the love of Garden Grove and its community. And so here is my challenge. I was here last council meeting. Very few residents attended, 4 to 6. And the meeting was a slow meeting night. I have never seen so many students at any one meeting at one time as last week. And our motto is youth and ambition. And I'm very proud of you guys, the way you talk to me. I'm feeling ashamed right now. But very good speech over there tonight, and all of you congratulated those boys, and I'm very proud of you and the team and the school tonight. So this shows that we do have this youth and ambition, and they are all busy. And I see that we have quite a few students here tonight also to get their papers signed. But with these slow meetings at this time and this many students, it would have been a perfect time to have an informal Q&A with these young people. Just think, you may have a hand in grooming the upcoming mayor or city attorney or the city manager. I know that items need to be agendized, but have your liaison talk with the schools and see if you can work out a program or something on a slow meeting night. And not only at council meetings, maybe at that workshop when we had the 5th Tuesday of the month. And when they come in to get your autograph on the paper, I mean, it was such chaos last week. Did you have a chance to connect with any of the kids last week? If you and your staff would help groom our upcoming replacements, wow, what a legacy you would be leaving. And I thank you very much for listening. It's just an idea. Let's try to get these students a little bit more interested in our political city works here. And I'm looking forward to seeing some of them on the city council one of these days. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Robert Croder.
I'm here tonight in the firm conviction that those in authority have a responsibility to ensure that those under their jurisdiction understand exactly what's expected of them. I learned this for myself 35 years working at Ford and retired 30 years ago as a department supervisor. I can only speak of the things I have observed. There's a lot that I don't know that goes on in the city. But in the last few years, we've had an influx of some very, very nice people, Vietnamese neighbors. Unfortunately, they don't speak my language too well. It's a little hard to talk to them sometimes, but they're very fine people, and I'm sure if they understood a little better, things would be different. And what it is, some new neighbors moved in across the street about 4 months ago, and I started calling code enforcement there at that time because they left their trash barrels out. They didn't bring them in. And some of the other likewise neighbors began to do the same. So I called code enforcement. The situation in the last 3 months is somewhat improved, only they don't bring them in until around like today, on Tuesday. But last Friday, that's the pickup day, we put our trash out on Thursday and they pick it up on Friday. They didn't bring their trash in again. There's a 4-foot Christmas tree sitting on top of one of the trash barrels Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Now, it wasn't picked up. I'm not saying, I don't know. But anyway, I called code enforcement in the morning and specifically told them that they need to send somebody out there that speaks the language to make sure they understand, because I don't think they understand. Because my knowledge of this group of people, they're not like that. But if they don't understand, they're not going to follow our rules. Besides, a couple of doors from me, there's been a mattress sitting out in the street, about 3 feet in the street and about 4 feet on the lawn for almost a month. And you say, well, why didn't the street sweeping say something about it? Well, they didn't come by last time because it was a holiday. And if somebody had to come by and just kind of looked around the neighborhood, because I started calling Monday morning to code enforcement, nothing happened. I made 6 or 7 phone calls that day, finally called the city manager's office. Still nothing had happened. Those trash barrels are still sitting out there with the Christmas tree in it, and the mattress is still laying out in the street. Now, I understand that code enforcement came by, but they didn't go up and talk to the people. I guess if there had been a dead body in the front yard, they probably would have sent them a mail letter, because that's probably what they're going to do. And I'm only here because if somebody doesn't speak up and say something, this situation is going to get out of hand again in the neighborhood. And I think it's simply a matter of people not understanding what's expected of them, and that's all I'm here for. I retired 30 years ago from Ford Motor Company as a department supervisor, and I know very well what it is that everybody under you understands what's expected of them. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll have someone get back to you. We'll look into it. Peggy Bergen.
Thirty-year resident and counting. Well, I wasn't even going to come tonight, and I'm very happy I did, because we had that nice little reception for the football players, and I feel a lot of togetherness with them, because I had 3 sons all playing football, spent many a cold night out there drinking hot cocoa. So I appreciate every time they make a touchdown and every time they try, and I let the fellows know that. So I'm very glad I'm here. But I also, at home, I was looking over the agenda, and I came across a consent item, and they're generally just kind of 1, 2, 3, and they're all approved together. This is 6C on the City Council. Resolution establishing parking restrictions for the east side of Pioneer Park parking lot, allowing only Power Play sports hockey participants to park during hockey program days and hours. Well, then I went on and read the staff report, and if you're not involved in that sport, which also, I guess, overlaps a little bit with Little League, which is being played over at Warren School, which backs right up to Pioneer Park. Now, I do know there's no parking on Chapman, so that restricts the parking quite a bit already. And I don't know the way the schools work when they let Little League play, if they let them use the parking lots or if they just have to find their own parking. So I'm not quite sure about that part. But my feeling is this is a public city park, and the idea of ticketing anybody in our city for parking in a parking spot, I do not care what the activity is not right. We as taxpayers pay for that parking lot, whether it's a game day for somebody or not. And the idea that you pull into the wrong side of that on a Saturday and you could be ticketed $44 is unreal. Also, how are they going to distinguish the hockey player cars from the Little League cars from the hotel customer cars, which are basically, that's only a half a block or more from the, little more from the hotels that we are trying to get people into and feel friendly about our hotels. Now, how would you feel if you were a hotel person that went out to McDonald's, thought you'd stop at the park, pulled in, sat down with your kids to eat your McDonald's that you bought around the corner in Garden Grove, and all of a sudden you walk over and there's a ticket that's going to cost you $44. I do not understand how, and I do not understand exactly, are the Powerball hockey players, are they a Garden Grove team, or are they a city, a group from outside the city that is renting that space? If it's an outside group, I'm even more outraged that we would ticket Garden Grove residents that are involved in Little League for parking on the wrong side of a parking lot. Plus, I already know from going to many, many of these meetings that that park, Pioneer Park, is part of the green space for the 220-unit building that was built, not building, I shouldn't say, multiple buildings. That is already being used as their green space. So once again, we've allowed 3 different groups to use this. The citizens, the Power Play sports hockey team, and the people that live in the residential units next door. but I do not feel having tickets established. I don't mind a sign saying on Saturdays, could you leave these free for hockey people? But the idea that you will be ticketed if you're not, how would we distinguish? Are we going to pay a police person to go and distinguish? Are you a Little League car? Are you a hockey car? Or are you a miscellaneous citizen car? That's all. Oh, I shouldn't say that. On Chapman now, right about as you cross between Lamson and Chapman, where there was that travel trailer park, it seems to me now we are storing used, dilapidated cars that are not for sale there. That does not really seem to be in the best interest of our International West theme. I mean, I know it's empty space, and it does have a green barrier cloth on the side facing harbor, but there's nothing going down the side of that. So you can see all of these cars parked and stacked in that area. I do not really find that very appealing. And I go into Target all the time, so I see it quite a lot. Okay, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Prinzler, Sr.
Evening, Mayor, Council. I'm here on tonight. One of the things is Time Warner. I went down to Time Warner the other day to pay my bill, and I asked the man, I says, do you give senior citizens a discount? No, you don't give this. You don't give nobody discounts. That's all. I says, what about if you pay your bill for a year at a time? And which I usually do, and I have been up until this year. He says, no, we don't take it. If we take your money for a year, we got to pay the city. Now, I don't know. You guys got a contract with the city. I don't know they paying somebody somewhere else in here that we don't know about? The second thing I wanted to talk about is the 2 substations that you voted on and bought the property for. First of all, let me say this. I'm in favor of the substations. You should have gotten those fire people out of them old rickety houses a long time ago. But what I don't understand is this. You went in there, you bought 2 pieces of property. Now one of them's not even big enough to house a fire engine. What have you people got up? What are you going to use with that property down there? Are you starting to slate it a little bit for another hotel or something, and you're going to pull out, or what? The other thing I want to talk about is pertaining to this advertisement that we're going into Anaheim with for the hotels, which our name was already on there, a little slip, but not that big. You all voted on going with the advertisement to get our name and get us put in. But I never heard not one single one of you say, how much is it going to cost us to go with Anaheim for that? Is Anaheim going to do that for us free? I don't think so. The other thing I want to ask is this. A few months ago, or maybe a year ago, you had borrowed $1 million from the sewer fund to pay a Measure M money bond off so we wouldn't have to pay all that tax. I want to know, has that money ever been returned to the sewer fund? One of you people should know, or your city manager should know. They should be able to tell you right now, especially him. That's his part of his property to do. Apparently not. I know you've got Measure M money because you did other work. But you don't bother to give us poor people here. You know, we're the poor ones that do this. We can get up here and ask you people questions, and ask answers, and I've done this before, where do I go to in a city hall to get an answer? Because I expect some of this you don't know. We'll get back with you, or they don't say nothing. Now, who do you go to after this here, when you go another day or two from now to the city hall, and the clerk or somebody could say, well, yeah, Mr. Prince, here's all the questions that you asked. Here's answers to them, if you don't know them now. That's why these people out here will not come here and listen to you people, because they figure you're just sitting here blowing wind. That poor gentleman right there was afraid to get up here and ask you about that thing pertaining to the trash. And he asked me, he says, do you ever talk? I said, yeah, every now and then I get up here and run away. I said, he says, did it do any good? I says, yeah. That's bad for the citizens of Garden Grove to ask another one. Do you think it's right? Do you have any questions? Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to close oral communications. Mr. Broadwater.
Yeah, I'd like to answer some of their questions.
Okay.
First of all, the money from the hotels is coming from the hotels. It's not coming from the city of Garden Grove. It's a 0.5% tax, bed tax for the advertisement. This isn't a question and answer thing here. I mean, he's right. We're not ready to answer all the questions, but he makes you think that we have to answer these questions. We don't. We have to let him speak. Now, as far as us borrowing $1 million from one entity and giving it to another entity, if we haven't paid it back, we still owe it. And that's the end of it. I mean, basically, it's always on the books if we haven't paid it back. Now, most of that stuff does get paid back. What else did I hear tonight? Oh, and the way you're going to tell the hockey players is they don't have any teeth. That's it.
Okay, well, I'd just like to add to what you said as far as, quite frankly, it's not a question and answer period. It's not, there are things that you bring up that if they're not agendized, we can't discuss. We may get back to you on them, but there are rules that we have to play by. And otherwise, it becomes a dialogue back and forth, and that's not allowable. So I'll make sure that you get some answers, Mr. Prinzler. Yes, go ahead.
Oh,
you scratched your nose. I thought you were.
No, I was going to say we want to give our citizens the answers. So maybe not tonight, but please contact us, and we try to get some of those questions answered. And we've always told people at the end of a meeting, every now and then, that they could always come to the city council meeting and speak their mind. They have a full 5 minutes. If they don't think they can say all that's on their mind in 5 minutes, they can write letters to us too. Okay? Thank you.
I must not be a very good hockey player because I still have all my teeth.
Or a good dentist, one or the other.
Okay, consent items.
I think we go to agency business first.
Sorry?
Agency and Sand District.
Okay.
Okay, we've had public comments, consent items. We only have the minutes. Could I have a motion? Oh, first of all, show everybody here that we're all here.
Move to approve.
Call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
There are no public hearings tonight. No items for consideration. Anybody have any matters from the members of the director? Hearing none at this time, we will adjourn till second Tuesday in February, which is what?
The 8th.
The 8th, February the 8th.
Yeah, it's also on a public hearing item, right? Yeah. Yeah, we haven't forgotten you. Okay, you adjourned that. I'll call to the order of the Garden Grove Sanitary District. Let the record show all members are present. And consent items, this next issue.
Just the minutes, Mr. President.
Minutes, so moved.
Excuse me. The minutes under consent items.
Yes.
Okay, no, you threw me there for a minute.
Sorry.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay, any matters from board members? Seeing none, I'll adjourn this meeting until the next regular scheduled meeting on Tuesday, February 22nd at 6:30 p.m. in the council chambers. And now we'll reconvene the Garden Grove City Council meeting and go to consent items.
Mr. Mayor, it's recommended items 6A through 6J be acted on simultaneously unless a separate discussion or action is requested by a member.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second, call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay, public hearings.
Mr. Mayor, your first public hearing is to consider the fall 2010 weed abatement, and Sabrina is here to give a brief staff report on this item.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, twice a year the Fire Department initiates the city's weed abatement program, and there are 3 steps, which include the Council's declaration of a public nuisance, a public hearing after the notice to clear lots are sent to the property owners, and a public hearing after lots are cleared and invoices are unpaid by the property owners. The purpose of tonight's public hearing is the 3rd step for the public hearing to be held regarding the invoices that were sent to property owners in December. It is recommended that council receive testimony from members of the public and take appropriate action. These actions would be to uphold any objections and direct staff as to how the council would like to respond, to overrule the objections and direct staff to proceed with the weed abatement process, and if there are no objections, direct staff to proceed with the weed abatement process.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Okay, hearing none, I'll open a public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to speak on this matter? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing.
I move with the abatement.
Second.
I have motion second. Call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
7B.
Mr. Mayor, 7B is a public hearing to consider several actions having to do with the proposed Water Park Hotel on Harbor Boulevard. And Lee Marino will be here to give a staff report on this item.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. The item before you tonight is a request to transmit Planning Commission recommendation for City Council adoption of a mitigated negative deck and a mitigation monitoring program, along with approval of a general plan amendment, plan unit development, and a development agreement to establish standards for development of a proposed water park hotel facility on 6 properties located on the west side of Harbor Boulevard between Lamson Avenue and Garden Grove Boulevard. On December 16th, 2010, the Planning Commission adopted a mitigated negative deck and a mitigated monitoring program and approved a conditional use permit and a tentative tract map, along with recommending City Council adoption of the mitigated negative deck and mitigation monitoring program and approval of a general plan amendment, GPA 1-10A, plan unit development, PUD 12610, and development agreement number DA 18310. The project does propose establishment of plan unit development zoning with development standards for the development of the Water Park Hotel facility, along with the general plan amendment to change the general plan land use designations of 2 properties from low-density residential to International West mixed use for the construction of a 605-room hotel, an approximately 130,000 square foot water park, approximately 18,000 square feet of retail space located within the facility, approximately 30,000 square feet of meeting space, restaurants within the hotel facility, a 5-level parking structure, and approximately 14,000 square foot restaurant pad located towards Harbor Boulevard. Additionally, the Planning Commission approval of the conditional use permit and the tentative tract map allowed for the sale of alcohol within the hotel and the hotel restaurants and the reconfiguration of 6 existing properties into 3 separate properties. The Water Park Hotel facility will include a 3-part structure that includes the indoor water park, lobby conference area, and a hotel room tower that is attached to the parking structure. The proposed structure will be compatible with the community guidelines as stated in the general plan, and the intent of the project is to create a themed resort environment through enhanced architectural elements. In order for the project to move forward, the general plan land use designation of the two properties that make up the northwesterly portion of the site, which are developed with single-family homes, need to be changed from low-density residential to the International West mixed use in order for them to conform to the land use designations of the other properties. Along with the change in the land use designation, the zoning of the entire site is being proposed to be changed. The two properties that maintain the single-family homes, along with the remainder of the site, will be changed from R1 single-family residential and plan unit development PUD 12198 to PUD 12610. While the proposed PUD for the site includes development and use standards, the envisioned build-out of the site is based on concept plans and environmental documentation that are the basis for setting the parameters for which the Water Park Hotel is to follow. It should be noted that the restaurant pad will require separate entitlement approval. Due to the size of the project, the applicant is required to enter into a development agreement with the city. The applicant will be guaranteed 5 years in which to construct the project, and in turn the city will receive from the developer development-related fees not to exceed approximately $2.6 million. Finally, an environmental checklist along with special studies which address potential environmental impacts for the subject project was prepared. At the conclusion of the analysis, it was determined that a mitigated negative declaration was required and that through the implementation of project mitigation measures along with project conditions of approval, the potential for significant impacts would be insignificant. With that, it is recommended that the City Council approve resolutions and introduce the first reading of two ordinances. The first resolution is titled, A Resolution Adopting a Mitigated Negative Declaration and Mitigation Monitoring Program for General Plan Amendment Number GPA 1-10A, Plan Unit Development, PUD 12610, Development Agreement Number DA 18310. The second resolution is titled, A Resolution Approving General Plan Amendment GPA 1-10A. The first ordinance for introduction and first reading is titled, An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Grove Approving Plan Unit Development PUD 12610, enacting new Plan Unit Development and zoning regulations for property currently zoned Plan Unit Development Number PUD 12198 in R1 Single Family Residential. And the second ordinance for introduction and first reading is titled, An Ordinance for the City Council of the City of Garden Grove Adopting Development Agreement Number DA 18310 between the City of Garden Grove and Garden Grove MXD, Inc. That would conclude staff's report, and staff is here to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Any questions for staff?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. Just to confirm my understanding of the project for the residents at home. So basically, today, the plan that we have today is not different from the plan that we saw the last meeting.
Correct.
Okay. And my second question is, the part of your study, the negative impact on the plan is not that significant to the surrounding neighborhood.
Correct.
Okay. And thirdly, because of the plan, although it's not being changed from the last time, you need to modify some of the zoning for that property.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Okay, at this time, I'll open a public hearing. Charles Dang.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I live on Leda Lane. Several of my family members, as well as several of my neighbors, are here in attendance today. We're here to confirm several things. As Councilman Nguyen asked, what sort of things have changed or stayed the same since the last time the council convened? On December, with the Planning Commission meeting, I came by and I brought up my concern about the cutting off of the cul-de-sac of our road, Leda Lane, which is on the northern boundary of the proposed water park. During the commission meeting, the commission asked if the developers could still build while preserving our cul-de-sac, and the answer was affirmative. And the planning commission asked to add an amendment to the plan to basically preserve that. And as I was flipping through the staff report that was posted online, I saw maybe one line somewhere that addressed that. And I'm here, and I want to get clarification that indeed it is an effective amendment, and that the city will act upon this. Our reasons for concern are every time we go to these sort of meetings, the same map is presented. The map that's presented up there does not show that our cul-de-sac is being preserved, even after the amendment has been voted on by the Planning Commission in December. And so we have, good reason to be concerned here. And I would like the council members, if they could, to address this. Our second question for you is, during the Planning Commission, we also asked that that our road not be used for emergency fire access, with the reason that it is currently a dead end, and to make it a fire access would basically make it a through street, even though it may only be used in an emergency. And the fire chief had assured me that that he was looking into alternatives already, and I would just like confirmation again from either the staff or the city council. Okay. So those are our concerns for today, and we would like the city council to look through this extensive plan thoroughly, and I hope that you look after not just the needs of the city as a whole, but also individual residents like us who are directly affected by this project. Okay. Thank you for the opportunity again. Okay.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here that would like to speak on this matter? Okay, at this point, I'll close the public hearing then. Do you want to address these issues?
Within the resolution of approval, condition number 31 actually requires that the Leda Lane cul-de-sac be maintained.
Okay.
And right now there is no plans, and there are no plans for fire access along Leda Lane. They are looking at alternatives, and before they come in through plan check, they have to show us which alternative that they're going to be using. But Leda Lane is not considered as fire access.
Okay. Thank you.
Is Leda Lane a public street or is it a private street?
It's a private.
Private. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I think our applicant would like to address the council, or is it?
Did you? Oh, you're certainly welcome. That's when I said any other. Go ahead. No, it's okay.
I was waiting for the term applicant, so it's my fault. Kim Perry with McWhinney. Thank you, Mayor Dalton. Our address is 2725 Rocky Mountain Avenue in Loveland, Colorado. City council members. We were just going to give a really brief overview, because I do have with me tonight Rodney Jones with Great Wolf to just give a brief overview of the company. And I also have John Shaw with us tonight, president of McWhinney. So with that, I'll just turn it over to Rodney, and then I was just going to do a quick, if there are any other questions on the layout or anything like that. Thank you.
My name's Rodney Jones. I'm Senior Director of Design and Construction for Great Wolf Resorts. We are very pleased to be at this point in this meeting to go ahead. We're very anxious to do this project. We love Garden Grove, and we want to be a part of the city and work with the community the best we can. I think the layout is a very good layout that works on the site and works in everyone's best interest as far as all of the work that Kim has done in making sure that the shade and the way the buildings are laid out as far as how it affects the sides, all the sides, east, north, west, and south sides of the building. So, with that said, we're here to answer any concerns that anybody might have, and I think we've addressed most of them, but we're here to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, and I'll keep it really brief because you're so familiar with it, and I just want you to know that we are available here if you do have further comments or questions. And thank you very much for the opportunity for the consideration tonight.
Okay, anything else? I don't want to cut you off again.
No, really, I think I was just going to go over some of the specifics of the site plan, but I think everybody's familiar with that by now, and I don't want to repeat what Lisa already said, so I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that
Well,
we,
I'm sorry, let's do it. We have three separate actions here. We can adopt the two resolutions in one motion, so that'd be the first action.
I move we adopt the two resolutions. Resolutions.
I have a motion and a second to call for a vote.
I'll go for the revolution.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay, the second item is to adopt the ordinance approving the PUD.
I'll move we approve the ordinance.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second, call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
And the last action is to approve the ordinance approving the development agreement.
So moved.
Second, okay, call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay, items for consideration.
Mr. Mayor, that's item 9A, and it's agreement with the Masako Sumita Tomlinson family for the acquisition of property at 12321 Thackeray. And Carlos Marquez will be here to give a staff report on this item. Thanks, guys. Bye, Rodney. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. It's requested that the City of Garden Grove consider the acquisition of real property located at 12321 Thackeray Drive, Garden Grove, owned by Masaka Sumita Tomlinson, executor of the estate of Atoyi Sumita. On June 21st, 2010, staff received a proposal from the owner offering to sell the subject property located next to the Harbor B2 site, south of the Sheraton Hotel and north of Twin Tree Street. The property contains 6,000 square feet of land and is currently improved with a 1,090 square foot single-family residence. Staff has negotiated an acquisition agreement with the owner for the purchase price of $450,000. The owner is the court-appointed executor of the estate of her deceased parents. The owner, as the court-appointed executor, has the authority to sell the subject property. The subject property has remained vacant since their passing and has not been occupied by the owner. As a result, the owner is not entitled to relocation benefits and has formally agreed to waive any relocation benefits. Upon the close of escrow, the subject property could be rented until it is needed for redevelopment. Community Development Block Grant funds will be used for the acquisition of the subject property. And based on the foregoing, it's recommended that the City Council, 1, approve the acquisition of real property located at 12321 Thackeray Drive, Garden Grove, in the attached acquisition agreement, authorize the city manager to execute the agreement, grant deed, and pertinent documents needed to effectuate the acquisition, and make minor modifications as needed on behalf of the city. 3, authorize the city clerk to accept the grant deed on behalf of the city. 4, authorize the finance director to draw a warrant in the amount of $450,000 in funds necessary for closing costs. 5, authorize the city manager to execute rental agreements on an interim basis pending the disposition of the property. And 6, authorize the city manager to execute agreements for asbestos testing, asbestos abatement, and demolition at the lowest responsible bids. That concludes the staff report. Available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion, second, call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay, matters. Mr. Broadwater.
Well, I was glad to see the high school kids here tonight. It was really a pleasure to see them happy. They won the whole thing, and so it was great to see them.
Thank you. Ms. Nguyen.
Yes, I want to remind everyone that next week at the Garden Grove Park, we have the Tet Festival, and it starts on Friday, February 4th. So there's a lot of activities for our families there. I can relate with Mr. Crowder on his concern regarding debris and just large items left out in the yard. That has happened in some part of the city that I drive through. And my suggestion, if the manager could pass on to code enforcement, is when they do the street sweeping and code enforcement is driving behind the street sweeping truck, if they see any debris, if they could make a note of that and address that. Also, a reminder, by in Garden Grove, our Burlington Coat factory is new to the city. And it's a wonderful place if you are looking for very discounted items. If you go there, you'll help the economy of the city and also save on a lot of brand name items. I have one last thing. Verna, I'm very touched by your concern tonight. Have our children come to the city and learn about the government and be more interactive with our government officials. I'm open to that. If the staff has a program in the future for our youth, I'll be interested in being involved with that. Currently, we have the exchange program that we put the funds out for our students, our very academic students, to go to Anyang, our sister city, to learn. And from that program, those students are very involved with the city, and they do get involved in other activities and volunteer work in the city as well.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Jones.
Yeah, thanks. Just another big congratulations to our boys at Garden Grove High School for winning their victory there. Nothing breeds confidence like winning, and I hope that that victory stays in their minds for a long time and propels them to go on and take on other challenges and other victories in their lives.
Mr. Doe.
Thank you, Mayor. Also, congratulations to the Garden Grove football team, Garden Grove High School football team. I think it's a great honor for our city to be CIF champ again. I know I'm a graduate of Bolsa Grande, and we won it a few years ago. So it's been a long drought for our conference, or at least for our city team. What I want to bring up is our Tet festival coming up. Tet is a Vietnamese word for the Lunar New Year. We celebrate together with a lot of other countries in Southeast Asia, so a lot of people refer to it as Chinese New Year. And what I'm asking for is some understanding also in the people that live perhaps in the neighborhoods near the temples. If you can analogize Tet it's similar to like Mardi Gras, where it's a very festive event. People prepare for months leading up to the day, and it's really only impacted, within a few hours, like between 10 p.m. and possibly 1 a.m. And that's pretty much it. That's when people, by tradition, they want to go to the temple. They want to be there and put in their prayers at midnight. And so I know it does impose hardship in terms of parking and probably a greater noise level than what you are used to. And especially since the Lunar New Year, the day itself falls, kind of on different days of the week. And this year is actually on a Wednesday. So it's going to be Wednesday night. So I know people work and going to school. So it is a disruption, but please try to understand that it's only one time a year, and I am going to work with the police department to drive around and actually see for myself the impact on the neighborhood this year, and see how it is. And but just want to ask people to keep in mind that it is only a very short amount of time, even on that day. So try to, if it's a little bit noisier than normal, if you can just tolerate it for a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you. I, too, want to thank the Garden Grove Argonauts, the football team. They were here today. They're CIF champions. One thing that people that were here, we had a little reception for them before the council meeting. And I think any of you that were over there, I think it's amazing how quiet, how I mean, they weren't rowdy. These are young people that on the football field get down to business and take care of it. But in the day-to-day life, they're just like our kids and your kids and everybody else's kids. And we're really proud of them. In fact, I was telling them, you know, they're putting Garden Grove back on the map. We used to have that guy, Steve, well, the guy that never, I know who it is, the guy that never comes to Garden Grove. So Steve, whatever his name is, can stay wherever he is. We really don't care. But we've got our own set of heroes in there, these young people that did something great for Garden Grove. And in conjunction with that, I'd like to agendize for our next council meeting. They're having a banquet at the community center on February 12th, I believe it is. And I'd like to agendize discussion of that and possible waiver of fees. I know some people might get a little aghast, but I challenge any other team in the city of Garden Grove. If they win the CIF championship, you know, we'll look at waiving their fees for their banquets too. Today we had our State of the City, and I want to thank Mayor Pro Tem Jones and Councilman Doe. They were able to make it, and we presented what's the situation with Garden Grove, what's been going on in the past, what's currently going on, and what we're doing to make the future a lot brighter. I believe that'll be available on This Week in Garden Grove, and I think it could be very interesting. So if you have the opportunity, you might want to see it. We had a great turnout. And it was very positive. It was received well, and I'm very happy how it turned out. The other thing that's not really very happy that I want to do is I want to adjourn the council meeting in honor of Specialist Jose A. Torre Jr., 21 of Garden Grove. Torre died January 15th in Baghdad, Iraq, of wounds suffered when insurgents attacked his unit with a rocket-propelled grenade. He was assigned to the Special Troops Battalion, 2nd Advice and Assist Brigade, 1st Infantry Division, Fort Riley, Kansas. Today, his body was returned to Garden Grove, and they had a public attendance earlier. However, there are still some services that are going to be upcoming that you might be interested in. And the family, believe me, in this time of tragedy, they welcome any of their fellow Garden Grove people to share their grief with them. There's a memorial service Thursday, January 27th at 6:30 p.m. at the Seacoast Grace East Auditorium, 5100 Cerritos Avenue in the city of Cypress. And there's also a graveside military honor service Friday, January 28th, 12 noon at the Riverside National Cemetery, 22495 Van Buren Boulevard, Riverside. And after that, fellowship and dessert with the Torre family to follow at 4 o'clock at the West Cypress Church, 5471 Cerritos Avenue in Cypress. And I think that if you have the opportunity, I think it would certainly help the family through this difficult time to see that the fellow people in Garden Grove share their sadness and their grief, and our prayers and our feelings go out to the family. I'm going to go ahead then and adjourn in his name, and we'll adjourn to the next regular meeting Tuesday, February 8th, 5:30 p.m. in the council chambers.